I started with an additional $5,000 my goal with that money was to make passive income. And I found myself 4 months later where I'd scaled in 100 grand, and it got me to a place where I was making $50,000 a month while I slept. It was bananas. And so the big aha moment for me was going from trading shit coins and losing money over and over and over again to having this passive income stream that blew up, went bananas.
I'm literally growing my net worth by 4, 6, 7, 8% equity position, getting stronger in all these different properties, all these different horses in the race. And it's outpacing my normal income.
I mean, I've put close to $1 million of my own capital from other businesses in crypto. And frankly, I feel a lot more secure with my money there than I do in the bank because I'm in control of it.
It's like, how do I get started doing this? How much money do I need to have available to even be worth trying what you guys do specifically?
Beyond your paycheck, it's surges of cash that you can use to grow your net worth and feed your investments.
Welcome back to another episode of the Surges of Income podcast. Today I have a very special guest for you. We're going to talk about a subject that we've never discussed at all on this podcast. And we're going to talk about crypto. And crypto, it's kind of one of those things where you either love it, you hate it. Maybe you used to love it, you've been burned because you didn't understand it. So I figured I would bring on probably one of the top world-renowned experts on cryptocurrency and how they're leveraging crypto in a very different way. I know you're going to find a lot of value from it and find it very interesting. And I'm welcoming you to the show, Dane Bollwinkel. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Thanks for having me, Chris. This will be fun today. I'm excited, man.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself, then we'll go into surges of income, and then we'll dive in, and I'll ask you some really cool questions that I know everyone wants to hear answers.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll just give you a brief background on me. So I very much was raised in a family that bought into the idea of getting an education and a safe job, and I went and did all that stuff. I got way too much education and was really hit with a brick in the face, it felt like, when I got to corporate America and started applying for jobs, and it frankly was far from the dream that I'd been sold of a safe job with good benefits. In fact, the last job that I was at, I was the second to last hire in the company before literally the entire branch was shut down and everything was taken back to headquarters. And so I had been looking for other opportunities to be able to increase my income, to build something for myself that I had control over, where I could control my income and I could control my time. And I found myself progressing towards real estate, which was great. And we've been really blessed with real estate. So I've been investing in real estate for about 10 years and been fortunate to make millions of dollars. I've done hundreds of transactions, but still I found myself chasing not money so much at that point anymore, but time freedom. And my wife came to me a few years ago and she said, "You know what, Dane, here's a cool family vacation that we should go on." And I said, "Great, let's do it. Let me just figure out a way to carve out the time." And she said, "Look, Dane, we've got the money to go on the trip, but when are we going to get this time thing that you talk about? How there's going to be this time freedom one day?" And it really put me in a position where I needed to consider that a lot more seriously than I had been, to try to find more time freedom. And that's where crypto came in. I'd had some friends that had done really well in crypto. I bought my first Bitcoin in 2017. And I said, "Man, I wonder if I could figure out this crypto thing." And I tell you, Chris, I think one of the most important things that you could be paying attention to as you're trying to figure out life and the path that you should walk. I'm a big believer that God will give us signs, that he'll give us breadcrumbs along the way to be able to point us in the right directions. And sometimes it's breadcrumbs, and sometimes he freaking rolls out the red carpet and it's a big flashing sign saying, "Hey, walk with me here." And this was one of those moments where I started digging in, taking crypto a lot more seriously than I had been. I started with an additional $5,000. My goal with that money was to make passive income. And I found myself 4 months later where I'd scaled in 100 grand, and it got me to a place where I was making $50,000 a month while I slept. It was bananas. It was nothing like it. And I really feel like for me, that was a sign where God was like, hey, come over here and check this space out. And so since then, we've been full blown 100% dedicated to crypto, done the 10,000 hours, all that type of stuff. And that's where we focus today. We use crypto to be able to create wealth, and we use asset classes like business building, oil and gas, real estate to preserve it.
I think it's beautiful. You said we a couple times. So tell me, you have a partner, Corey, right? So tell me about Corey, his background. And then I want to dive in to ask you some questions specifically about kind of what you do differently. And it's kind of like you're wearing a different set of glasses than everybody else. When people see crypto, they see something unsecure, and they see something volatile, and they see things that are kind of like securities, but I've never seen anything like it. Yet you have these glasses on where you see it for what it is, and you see it for all its potential and things that you can do kind of outside the box. I want to dive into your strategies a little bit, as much as you're willing to divulge, and talk about that. But tell me about your partner for a minute.
Yeah, Corey's great, man. So I met Corey from real estate investing. I actually met him at a real estate investing mastermind, and the two of us became good friends because we had similar businesses that we were building. We could call and help one another when we got stuck in places. And when I left and shut down my real estate company to focus totally on crypto, I was shouting to the world about the opportunities that were there. And Corey was one of the people that we naturally just started doing more crypto stuff together. And over time, I like working with Corey. He likes working with me. It made a lot of sense just to work together to build something where we could be of service, where we could give back to people. A lot of our investor network were reaching out, asking how they could dive in and do crypto as well. It's pretty crazy to shut down one 7-figure operation to move over to crypto. And so they wanted to rightfully so understand what we were doing. So that's how Corey and I ended up linking up and working together. And I'm telling you, I am the mellow one in our working relationship, and Corey's all energy. Corey's all gas, no brakes type of thing. And it's good to have both. We kind of bring two different perspectives, and everyone gets a well-rounded approach from those two different perspectives.
Awesome. Well, your company, DeFi Crypto Alliance, and you all specifically, not only you talk about crypto, you also take on students, you mentioned, and you teach cryptocurrency and like several strategies that I don't think I've seen anybody else do. Can we talk about that just a little bit? Like, so what do you all do at DeFi Crypto Alliance? What makes you different? And what kind of people do you tend to attract?
Yeah. So the reason that we started our community is because there's so much bad information out there about crypto. So if you go right now and you go online and you Google something simple like how to invest in crypto, almost all the information you're going to find is somebody telling you that you should come and trade the crypto markets on short time frames, and that you're somehow, with no trading experience, supposed to step into the most volatile asset class known to man and make money somehow. And newsflash, if you haven't tried it already, that's a great way to go lose your money. It's a great way. In fact, I don't know a way to lose it much quicker, because trading in general, it's very volatile. And so rather than doing that, what we found is you can get 95% of the juice from the squeeze there by rather understanding longer term time horizons, buying when things are cheap, riding the waves, making passive income while we wait for the big pushes up, getting the appreciation, and then once again understanding those time horizons, and then taking profits near the end of the cycle. And specifically, in fact, I'm really proud of this. We did a poll in our community not long ago, and I asked everybody, I said, hey, once your stuff's set up, how long do you spend managing your crypto portfolio? And it ranged anywhere from an hour a week to an hour a month. Because once again, with the right approach, you don't need to be staring at a screen all the time. Once again, we've done this to have real freedom. Rather, you can make your money and you can keep it too. You can grow it as well with very limited time in, once you have things rocking and rolling. So we specialize in the passive income generation while we're getting appreciation as well.
I think it's a beautiful thing, because when people look at crypto, it's almost like having an account like you would have when you're trading on E-Trade, or, they think it's just them buying a shit coin and hoping it goes crazy, or buying Bitcoin and holding on to it for a while and having all the ups and downs and the exciting moments and the depressing moments of kind of looking at your Coinbase ledger every day and seeing it. But that's so much more than that when you really dive into it. And the fact that it could be a passive income strategy or vehicle, it just sounds so different. Like, because when we think crypto, just to the general public, it's that thing in '08, which we wish we would have bought, right? We all be
Right.
gazillionaires right now.
Right.
But then we also watched it go up and down, and people get excited. And I know so many people who are into crypto who haven't logged into their wallets, their digital wallets, in like 2 years, because they're like, I may have money in there. I don't know. It's not something I'm interested in anymore. Like, I also know a lot of people who've been taken in a lot of scams, me included. I've been in two, where I was making like 2% interest per day compounding. I did not try to get anybody else into it. A couple of people that were my friends brought in a whole bunch of people they knew into it, and that was dumb. And it got a lot of negative press on me when I told no one to do it, but either way. But it always made me a little bit twice bitten, once shy, or whatever that saying is.
Yep.
But it's just misinformation. It's just not understanding exactly what it is, right? So let's talk about surges of income for a minute. So our podcast here is all about surges of income. It's how to make money above and beyond your normal paycheck, because until you're a high earner or until you have money to invest, it's almost impossible to get wealthy, right? Think about, no one ever earned their way to wealth. No one ever saved their way to wealth. You have to learn how to put money to work for you. I mean, you're always working and spending time for dollars in that transfer or that exchange until you learn how to take your money and let your money make more money. Like, all the money I've made has been through real estate, businesses, the sale of a business, the sale of a property, large events, launches. Like, that's how I get surges of income. And for you, you were able to do that with real estate as well, and got out of corporate America. And now you found another way where even you can have more time. Because if anybody's watching this and you've been in real estate investing, and that can be anything, it could be fix and flips, it could be long-term rentals, short-term, it could be all types of different things, but it's extremely time consuming. It's also a lot of risk. It's also a lot of money up front, whether it's from you or a hard money lender or somebody else. It's still a lot of money. It takes money to make money. But in this strategy, you've essentially taken why people become business owners, which is time freedom, location freedom, wealth creation, legacy, pride, assurance. That's why people get into real estate, is because they want to stop working and they want to do this full time. And you found probably in both of those things, you don't have all the time freedom you want.
No.
But you finally found something where, with a little bit of setup and a lot of strategy, you can literally work an hour a week or an hour a month and have money coming in again and again. And I imagine a lot of your students, a lot of people in your community still are working. They're still doing things, but they're doing this as well as more of a passive income strategy. So what was the big aha moment for you with crypto, where you realized that I can see this for something different than everybody else is seeing, right? I have a different approach or strategy. Let me try this. Like, what was that moment like?
I mean, until you really experience what crypto can provide, like, you literally have no idea. It's kind of like when a parent talks about the love of a child. I think you can conceptualize that, but until you have your own, like, you truly will never understand what that is. And so with cryptocurrency, I mean, I think we've all, just like you said, right? Everybody's heard the pitch. Everybody knows the potential upside and risks. But until you really experience it, where you have a little bit of money that grows into a lot of money in short periods of time, I mean, you just don't know. And so the big aha moment for me was going from trading shit coins and losing money over and over and over again, to having this passive income stream that blew up, went bananas. And not even the fact that it blew up, but the fact that it actually worked. That, like, I was turning out capital every single day that I could then turn into cash, and I could go do what I want. Side note for you guys, if you're listening to this, it's a great example. Like Chris said, if you're in something that's generating passive income, especially if it's really high passive income, that's something to likely be taking profit on very consistently, because those things typically don't last long term. So we have plenty of those things where we bought in, and I've had stuff where APRs were as high as like 3,000% APR. And then as more people get in, it naturally pushes those balances down. And so, like, those are opportunities to take profit. and mitigate risk really well. That's not something to FOMO and compound everything back in. That's an opportunity to be taking profits. And so with a little bit of strategy and understanding the things that are available out there, that's really what led to the aha moment when I was actually making passive income, and I was making so much more passive income than I could with a rental property that it blew my mind. That was the big moment.
And you don't have to go out and search for properties, and you don't have to go look at 10 to find one that has the right juicy equity position. And you don't have to find the right renter who's willing to pay you 10% over market value for rent and somebody who's got good credit. Like, all the complexities of that are gone. And then what you said earlier about appreciation is big, because as an investor on my side, I do nothing but long-term rentals, or I do lease purchases or lease options, kind of like the Chris Crone method. And I like it, compassionate financing, because it helps people. But I'm an appreciation guy. Like, I think 3 of my rentals don't make any money at all. They actually negative cash flow, because the loan is not super great because of when I'm buying them now. And I'm overpaying every month to try to get more principal paid down. And I'm losing probably $300 to $400 a month on some of these rentals. Sure. But I don't really care, because I'm making, where I buy, between, I think, 5 and 8% appreciation every year. That's the formula that I've created for what I buy. And I think appreciation investors are the ones that make the most money usually in investing. Like, what I see, and I own a real estate investing company, just so you know. I think you already knew that. Business acquisition coaching company, like marketing agency coaching company, marketing and learning how to launch your online coaching business coaching company. And we own a whole slew of businesses, right? And I get to watch all these different things that people do. And it's interesting to see how so many people quit what they're doing, find a full-time side hustle, get into this flipping strategy where they're living off of the proceeds of their flips. And all of a sudden, they've just created a harder job for them with more instability. And their money that they can actually invest is just getting recycled and not growing their net worth. Compared to when you look at appreciation, which is what I love, is I'm literally growing my net worth by 4, 6, 7, 8% equity position, getting stronger in all these different properties, all these different horses in the race. And it's outpacing my normal income. And that's where wealth comes from, is that plus time, plus volume, right? And what you're able to do is you're able to cut out all the BS and the time and a lot of the, I wouldn't use the word risk necessarily, but it's just very involved to do real estate. And you have to have a team to add scalability, right? Mm-hmm. And what you're doing here, you don't need a giant team. You don't probably need a transaction coordinator. You're not paying a real estate agent to buy and sell and commissions. And it's just like, it's very interesting how you guys have figured this out. So,
well, that's one of the best parts about it, right? Becoming an entrepreneur. You know this. Being an entrepreneur is hard. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Building the skill set to be a truly good entrepreneur, it's a lot. And most people are not going to make it. They just aren't. Most people aren't built for that. And that's fine. You know what I mean? You don't have to be a master entrepreneur to be able to go and do really well for yourself. You need to find tactics, though, that align with who you are and what your goals are. And that's where crypto, in my opinion, once again, using it correctly can change everything. You don't have to become a master marketer. You don't need to hire and fire anybody. You don't need to build a team. You don't need to do any of that stuff. You just need to understand some fundamentals. You need to be able to learn how to apply those. I always recommend starting with just a little bit of money. If you're going to come in and do crypto, start with just a little bit of money and get your feet wet. Everybody wants to come in, and we all get FOMO. You see an opportunity and you want to go in heavy when you think something is bulletproof, and that can be problematic. So with anything, you want to mitigate risk. You want to make sure you're wrapping your head around stuff. And as you get more familiar, then you could go and you could put more substantial money in. I've put close to $1 million of my own capital from other businesses in crypto. And frankly, I feel a lot more secure with my money there than I do in the bank, because I'm in control of it. And that's a skill set that I built over time. And once again, it's a beautiful thing because I'm the one that's in charge, and you don't need all of the things that are required to be a good entrepreneur.
Yeah. So I teach consulting for equity, and I love it, because if you stop and you think about people who want all these benefits of owning a big investing business, or all the benefits of being a business owner, like I said a minute ago, pride, assurance, wealth creation opportunities, time freedom, location freedom, like a lot of times going after entrepreneurship is because they're looking for those things. And the reason why I think what you're doing is cool is you're finding another path for them to get that, because it is hard being an entrepreneur. It's hard to learn everything it takes to be a business owner. And like I said, with the consulting for equity, why I teach this and why I love it is because you're allowed to take the one thing you're amazing at, your superpower, your skill, the thing you've been developing for 10 to 15, 20 years, and you're able to exchange it for equity in somebody's company without having to learn everything else there is to learn about owning a company. Like, you can stay in your lane. So I think that's why that strategy is so attractive to me and why I teach it to people, because the failure rate is crazy. Like 96% of people who start a business fail in the first 10 years. And you know, at Dealmaker Wealth Society, we teach people how to buy the 4% that have survived, you know, the 4% that's been profitable and who went through the gambit. And then you're able to buy something that already has people and systems and processes and reputation. But at the end of the day, Carl always says people don't really care about buying businesses. They want the benefits of business ownership. So you found a way to get those benefits without having to go through all the hard stuff. So let's talk a few things real quick. So people listening are going to say, wow, sounds cool. I've been burned. I know crypto's real. I know people are making money on it. Some of the richest people in the world came from wealth from crypto overnight, it seems like. How do I get started doing this? How much money do I need to have available to even be worth trying what you guys do specifically? And then how do you work with people? How is that journey? What's that process like?
Sure. So we tell everybody the same thing, irrespective of how much capital you have. So for instance, today, I have a couple of guys that sold a real estate property. They have 250K they want to bring in and do some stuff on the blockchain with. And I'm going to start them the same as I would with somebody with a few $1,000. We're going to bring in a small percentage of their capital first, and we're going to bring in the rest over a period of time. It's called dollar cost averaging. If you're not familiar with the term, it just means bringing in smaller chunks of money over a longer period of time than all at once. Yep. It's nice because you hedge your risk. There's a lot of volatility in crypto. It can go up and down pretty crazy. And if you're buying in over time instead of all at once, well, then you get an average of that time, which I think is really important. That's one of the first risk mitigation tactics that we talk about in our community. So, you know, I say start with a few $1,000. It doesn't need to be bananas. A few $1,000 is plenty to be able to go and start trying some stuff out. And you bet small amounts of that first few $1,000 to be able to, once again, to get your feet wet. So we bring people in, we help them do a few different things. We set up your security so that you're rock solid. In fact, if you have the right security posture, you should practically be unhackable. You hear about these hacks and these scams that happen in crypto. They don't happen to us because we know how to operate. Kind of like with building a business or acquiring a business or consulting for equity, like you talked about. People would talk about those things and say they're so risky. And I would argue they're not if you have the skill set, if you've learned how to do those things. And this is no different. So we bring people in, we teach them security, we help them set it all up, we do it with them. I think it's really important. You need to have somebody that can do this stuff with you, that's already come and cut their teeth, had the losses, had the wins. So we do the security first. And then from there, we move to transacting in DeFi. So if you're not familiar with the word DeFi, let's talk about that just real briefly. You have centralized entities and decentralized ways to be able to bank and to transact. Centralized entities are like your traditional bank or Coinbase, Kraken, Crypto.com, Robinhood. Those are all centralized. And we see some of the downside with those platforms in FTX, for instance. FTX collapsed. It was like $20 billion of customers' funds that they stole. And that was tragic, frankly, tragic. And we did not get caught up in that. In fact, we called about a couple of weeks before the collapse, we called that something likely was about to happen. That was kind of cool. But man, in the decentralized world, you don't have to ask for permission. I don't have to ask for permission to send a wire or do a transaction or anything of that nature. I'm the one that's in control. And the computers that run the blockchain, well, they work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without human intervention, without problems from humans. And so it's beautiful in that space because, once again, I don't have to ask anyone's permission. So we teach them how to come and transact in that niche of crypto. We teach them how it works and how to profit from it. It's really cool. Deals that traditionally in traditional markets would only be available to big banks or venture capitalists, those types of opportunities are available to the public in DeFi, and you can come and participate in them. That's how we make so much passive income in a lot of these platforms, because those deals, those opportunities are available to everybody. So that's what we do, is we teach them transacting, and then we get into passive income. And then from there, it's really at that point, we're building a strategy with you to be able to say, okay, what interests you? Do you like appreciation? Do you like quick wins? Do you like passive income? Do you like some of all of it? And then we can really build a program and a strategy based upon your desires, your money, and your goals of how to approach this thing that is crypto. Because frankly, there's a million things that you could do. We only need a handful of good things that you want to do in order to move the needle in a really big way. And so that's how we do it. We get everybody set up. I mean, I could set you up in just a few hours. And then from there, it's once again an hour a week to an hour a month type of thing as far as management is concerned. If you want to approach it really passively, or if you find that you really enjoy it and you want it to be more active, then we have stuff that you can come in and do every single day with us if that's what you want.
So only a couple grand even at the low end to be able to get started.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah. I mean, we've had, and once again, like I have to be really clear about this part. I'm not a financial advisor, right? I can't give financial advice. Go and talk to somebody that's licensed to do so if that's advice that you're seeking. I can just share our experiences, and those aren't guarantees of future performance. But let me share some of those experiences. So I mean, we've had tons of people in our community that have turned $1,000 into, you know, 5 to 10,000. We've had tons of those. I've had bunches that have turned $1,000 into 20 to 50K, and I've even had a handful that have turned $1,000 into over 6 figures, and that's often in relatively short time frames. And so, yeah, I mean, a little bit of money can be turned into an obscene amount in short time frames if you get familiar and comfortable and you learn to manage risk well. And so, yeah, it doesn't take a lot you don't have to bet the farm to buy the farm, is what we say in crypto.
And let's address the elephant in the room before we wrap this up today. Crypto's
Sure.
up and down. Is your strategy something that is not reliant on an up or a down market? Is it where you can make money in crypto in leveraging the passive investment strategy, whether the market's trending up or trending down over a period of time?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we even have a strategy that we were utilizing when things were trending down previously. It's looking like the trend here is more upward in a lot of the altcoin sectors. Altcoins are just things outside of Bitcoin. And some people would throw Ethereum in there as well. It's the other cryptocurrencies. The charts are saying across the board, at least where we stand right now, that it looks like most everything's bottomed or darn close to it. And so it's time to go risk on again. Before this, when the market was trending down, there's some really cool platforms where you can go make passive income off your stablecoins, for instance. Stablecoins are just dollars on the blockchain. They take the volatility out of crypto. And some of these platforms pay anywhere from, 5% clear up to 30, 35% APR on your dollars on the blockchain, just plugging in your money and letting the platform and the miners do their job. Like it's a beautiful thing. So we have strategies to take the volatility out of it if you want, strategies for bigger upside if you're open to volatility. And the answer is absolutely yes. We make passive income whether the market goes up or down. It's bananas.
So in closing today, I think everyone listening, all my listeners are probably pretty intrigued. How do they get in touch with you or Corey and learn more about what you do, how to work with you, how to learn from you?
Sure.
How do they reach out?
I'd say come and connect with me on social media. We try to put out our fair share of content. You could find me, Dane Bollwinkel, or Money Talk with Dane on Instagram or Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. You can come in and send me a DM. I'd be more than happy to connect with you. You can come check out our stuff. You can also check out our website that we're redoing right now at DeFiCashflowSystems.com. You can come and see our stuff there. You can see what we're about. We run a lot of cool events, a lot of stuff we do almost for free. So we give away a lot of information because we're really passionate about people understanding, hey, there's a better way to do this than trying to day trade your way to wealth, which is brutal and an awful experience for almost everybody that tries it. So yeah, come send us a DM on social media. Come check out our website. We'd love to connect with you and provide whatever value that we could provide wherever your listeners are at on their journey.
And let's end with this. So I talk about the concept of predicting success. That's something I teach about constantly. And really the difference between gambling and investing is gambling has to do with luck, right? And chance, versus investing is when you're putting something, time, energy, resources, money into an investment with the ability to predict that you're going to be successful and then you're going to get a return on investment. So I think it's cool how we can take something that a lot of people may look at as gambling, like going out and playing with trading and things like that, because trading often is considered gambling. There's even a lot of people with security clearances and who work for the government that are not allowed to be traders. I don't know if you knew that or not. They could actually lose their security clearance because they feel like it's such a gamble that leads to this erratic behavior, compared to you're taking something and you're learning and teaching investment strategies where you're actually predicting success. And that's the key to everything. I mean, it's not dangerous or risky, like you were referencing earlier, if you have the ability to predict success. I talk about this in negotiations all the time when I teach negotiations about risk versus actual and versus perceived risk, right? Actual risk is when you see a bear and he's running at you, right? Perceived risk is when you're not sure that what you're doing is going to produce the outcome you're looking for. Like that's when people feel like something is perceived risky. But with what you all do, it's not, because you can predict the outcome in most cases, right? You're not a financial advisor. You're not guaranteeing anything, but here's what happens.
And there's volatility to everything, right? Volatility to everything. But like you're saying, we can get things to a place where we can mitigate risk in such a way that, like I said, I feel like it's, quite predictable. I mean, I put close to $1 million in because I feel so comfortable with how we can build things and position ourselves. So yeah, I want to be really transparent. Nothing carries no risk, right? Maybe we walk out and we get hit by a bus today and you die. Nothing carries no risk. But yeah, absolutely. I feel like we've done an excellent job in mitigating the risk,
100%.
and having more predictability about what it is that we do.
And when you look at the overall landscape of investing and you look at what a certified financial planner or someone who's advising someone, they're going to take a market basket approach anyway. And they're going to say, let's do some risky stuff, some non-risky stuff. Let's do some long-term, some short-term. Let's put 2 to 3% of your net worth here, 5% here, 7% here. And it's so customizable. And what's so cool is crypto is now another asset class, another investment class that can be added to your overall strategy. That can be something that can produce a lot faster results than a lot of other things. Like we see the S&P, obviously grows 10 to 12% a year when you look at a long period of time, but there's just as much volatility in the stock market as there is in the crypto market. And you see real estate, we go back and forth, buyer's market, seller's market, high interest, low interest, feeding frenzy, refinances. Like it's the same exact thing. It's just a growth vehicle at the end of the day. And I think when you learn to look at it as a growth vehicle, as an investment vehicle, almost like long-term rentals, plus some short-term rentals mixed in there that give you better cash. Like it's very much like digital real estate in some ways. So
yes.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here with us. Thanks for pouring in these listeners. Thanks for setting the record straight around what crypto could do if you learn how to leverage these strategies. They know how to get in touch with you. Thanks for being on the Surges of Income podcast. Look forward to seeing you again at some point in the future, and hope you have a great day.
Yeah, thanks, brother.